Now in this lecture, what we are going to discuss is we're going to see what are the effects if we try to increase the temperature on both the forward bias as well as reverse bias characteristics. So what you have seen in forward bias region, suppose if it is for silicon, if you are trying to increase the voltage at 0.6 or 0.7, the current starts increasing, right? On x-axis we have represented voltage and on y we have represented current, right? So this is nothing but ID or VD. Or else for better understanding, if you are dealing with the forward bias, you can consider this one as F also. This can be VF, forward voltage, or else IF, right? So now the graph which I've drawn is for silicon or germanium?
Silicon.
It is for?
Silicon.
It is for silicon, right?
Silicon.
So the barrier potential will be approximate in the range of 0.6 to 0.7. So I've shown you in the previous slides also, right? I've implemented it using multisim and I've shown you the graph as well. And suppose if it is for germanium, the barrier potential will be 0.3 volt. Now what we're going to do is, if we try to increase the temperature, what will happen to this characteristics we shall see, right? See, in case of forward bias region, the characteristics of silicon diode shift left at a rate of 2.5 millivolt per degree centigrade rise in temperature. What does this mean? Per degree centigrade rise in temperature, there will be 2.5 millivolt left shift. Means, see this example. Suppose at 25 degrees centigrade, if VD, which is nothing but diode voltage, if it is 0.7 volt. Now what I'm doing is I'm trying to increase the temperature from 25 degrees centigrade to 100 degrees centigrade. So I'm trying to increase how much? 75, right? 25 plus 75 will give 100. Now if I try to increase this temperature, what will happen to this characteristic? We shall see. So according to this definition, what you are able to understand, per degree centigrade rise in temperature, there will be 2.5 millivolt left shift, right? So simply 2.5 millivolt per degree centigrade. I'm trying to increase how much? You can see it here. See, 100 into 2.5 millivolt will approximate, it will give 0.25 volt. Whereas suppose this is under 0 degree Kelvin. Suppose under 0 degree Kelvin, if I'm getting this graph, that is at 0.6 and 0.7, I'm trying to get this graph. Now what I'm doing is I'm trying to increase the temperature. So as I'm trying to increase the temperature for 100 degrees centigrade, the total it will be 125 degrees centigrade. So you simply try to multiply that. I'm trying to increase 100. So 100 into 2.5 millivolt. This will give 0.25. Means this graph will shift left side. Means there will be decrease in 0.25 millivolt. So initially what we have, we are getting graph at 0.7, right? Now because of this increase in temperature, there is a left shift. So that's why I'm subtracting. So 0.7 minus 0.5 will give approximately 0.35. You can see it here. So now what will happen is this graph, I'll get it 0.3 itself. Approximately 0.3 or 0.4, 0.35 exactly if you want to go. Are you able to understand this? What is happening exactly? At 0 degree Kelvin, I'm getting the barrier voltage in the range of 0.6 to 0.7. Now because of 100 degree rise in temperature, the characteristics are getting shifted left at a range of 2.5 millivolt per degree centigrade. So that's why there is a decrease in the barrier potential. You can see it here. Now it is 0.35 only for silicon because of increase in temperature, right? Are you able to understand this, or do you want me to repeat once again?
Repeat it, sir.
Once again, okay. See, initially the graph that we got, better we shall go with the earlier slide only, that will be better. See here, under forward bias characteristics, what is the barrier potential here for silicon? Please respond so that you'll understand easily.
0.3 to 0.7.
For silicon, 0.6 to 0.7.
0.7.
And what is the temperature? At 0 degree Kelvin, I got this graph. Clear till here?
Yes, sir.
Now what I'm doing is I'm trying to increase the temperature. For degree centigrade rise in temperature, the characteristics gets shifted left at a range of 2.5 millivolt. Okay. If we go with the previous example, suppose if at 25 degrees centigrade, instead of 0, you consider this as 25. Suppose at 25 degrees centigrade, if this is the graph. Now at 100 degrees centigrade, what will be the graph? You need to tell me. So simply you need to multiply this 100 with 2.5 millivolt. What is milli? Is it 10 to the power minus 3 or 10 power minus 6?
Minus
Millivolt.
Minus 3.
So you try to solve this 100 into 2.5 into 10 power minus 3. So 100 can be written something like this. 10 square. 2.5 can be written like this. 25 by 10 into 10 power minus 3. You try to solve this. This is 25. So 10 power 1 into 10 power. This is minus 2. This is something into 2.5. So 2.5 by 100.
102.5.
0.25 or 1.25?
102.
25 by 100.
0.25.
Now this graph will shift left. Means you need to subtract 0.7 minus 0.25. So how much you will get? 0.7 minus 0.25. How much you are getting? 0.335. 0.45.
0.45, sir.
That's it. 0.45. So this graph starts something like this, approximately at 0.45. Clear? Now you try in reverse order. Suppose if you try to decrease the temperature, what will happen? You tell me now. Here what we did, from 25 degrees centigrade, I've increased the temperature to 100, right? Now what you do is you try to decrease the temperature below 25 and tell me what will happen. Suppose from initially you consider initial point as 25. Now you go to 0 degrees centigrade and tell me what will happen to the graph. Will it shift left or right? See, suppose if you are increasing the temperature from 25 to 100, the graph shifts left or right? There is a left shift, right? Now what I'm doing is I'm trying to decrease the temperature from 25. Suppose say I'm decreasing to 0. Now the graph will shift to left or right?
Right.
That's it. This is a simple concept. So the important point that you need to remember is per degree centigrade rise in temperature, the forward bias characteristics gets left shifted at a rate of 2.5 millivolt. Clear? If I'm increasing the temperature, it will move left. Suppose if I'm decreasing the temperature, it will move right. Clear with this? Now you try with this germanium and tell me what will happen to the value. You consider this is the initial point at 25 degrees centigrade. Okay. Now you try to increase it to 100 degrees centigrade and tell me the graph from where it will start. Quick. You try to solve and tell me the answer. Tell me the exact barrier potential or VB. So again simple, 100 into 0.25. 100 into 2.5 millivolt. So this will be approximately 0.25. So initial value is 0.3, right, for germanium. So 0.3 minus 0.25 will give how much? 0.5. So this is the barrier potential. Approximately this is the VB, 0.05 for germanium, whereas it will be 0.45 for silicon. Clear with this concept? What I'm doing exactly? So simply you need to remember only one point. Per degree centigrade rise in temperature, the characteristics gets left shifted. At what range? At a range of 2.5 millivolt. So this value is important. So you can expect this temperature effects on for 2 marks as well. Can anyone tell me what will happen under reverse bias now? Under reverse bias. See here. For reverse bias, we get forward current or reverse current? For reverse bias, forward or reverse?
Reverse.
Reverse saturation current is because of majority carriers or minority carriers?
Minority.
Good. It is because of minority carriers. Now in the C, reverse saturation current, it will get double for 10 degrees centigrade rise in temperature. Means see, this is the example. Suppose initially I'm considering 25 degrees centigrade. Suppose at 25 degrees centigrade, if there is 10 nanoamperes of current. Now what I'm doing is I'm trying to increase the temperature. See, for every 10 degrees centigrade, means 25 plus 10 will give 35, right? So there is a 10 degree rise in temperature. Now what will happen to current? It is getting doubled. You can see here 10 plus 10. So I got 20 nanoamperes. Now again from 35 I'm increasing the temperature 10 degree. So the current is getting again double. See, 20 plus 20, it is giving 40. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So current is getting doubled for every 10 degree centigrade rise in temperature. Whereas what is happening for forward bias? Can anyone tell me the definition? Temperature effect on forward bias? Per degree centigrade rise in temperature, the characteristics are getting
This is left at the root of
at a range of
2.5 millivolt.
right at a range of
5
2.5 millivolt. So just you need to remember only 2 points. Here 25 millivolt per degree centigrade, and here for every 10 degree it is getting double. Is it clear? Or any doubts? So you can expect this temperature effects for 2 marks generally. Only 2 points if you remember, you can able to write. For forward bias characteristics, it is getting left shifted per degree centigrade rise in temperature at a range of 2.5 millivolt. Whereas for reverse bias, the current is getting doubled for every 10 degree centigrade rise in temperature. Clear with this concept? Or any doubts? Anyone? Any doubts? Can I continue with the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Right. So we shall now see about PN diode application. So till now what we have done is we have done with the working of PN diode, right? So you have seen the working of PN diode under how many conditions? Forward bias,
Reverse bias.
forward bias, reverse bias, and no bias. And at the same time, you have know the VI characteristics also for forward and reverse. And you know about temperature effects also, right? So now what we shall do is we shall see what are the applications of these diode, means where we are trying to use this diode. If you see here, so while discussing the syllabus, I've told you this entire format, right? What is happening exactly is first transformer, rectifier, filter, voltage regulator, and load. So will transformer take AC or DC?
AC.
AC. Voltage?
DC.
230 volt and 50 hertz. So this is the amount of voltage and frequency that is received by the transformer. So generally in your house, you will get AC only. But whereas your gadgets, suppose if it is a mobile, it is works on DC or AC mobile?
DC.
DC. All the suppose if you are making use of battery anywhere, it comes under DC. Whereas you'll get AC to your home. Now you need to convert this AC in order to drive. So generally, suppose if I'm considering this one as a load, load is nothing but some endpoint, or else you can use fan also. Fan is also a one load, because if you switch on the plug, the fan starts rotating, right? So you can consider fan as a load, light, everything, all the endpoints you can consider it as a load. So initially, this is the amount of AC that you are getting to your house, and if you want to make use of this mobile or fan or light as a load, you need to convert this AC into DC. So this is the order that you need to follow. First, initially, this is the amount of voltage that is received by the transformer. Next, you know about rectifier, I think. Can anyone tell me the definition of rectifier?
The
It's
one which
Convert
converts
AC
AC
to
to DC
DC.
and pulsating DC.
right. Pulsating DC. Good. You need to remember this. Pulsating DC. Whereas after using filter, it will turn into pure form of DC. So first we shall discuss about so basics of transformer, like how many types of transformers are there. Next, this is the important concept from which you can expect long answer. Rectifiers as well as filters. Suppose if you are perfect with rectifiers, easily you will understand filters. But before understanding these rectifiers, you need to understand the working of PN diode. See, all are interrelated here. So transformer is something which takes 230 volt as well as 50 hertz. And now we need to convert this into DC. So for this, you need to follow this format. So under that, first thing is rectifier. So as you said that rectifier is something which converts AC into pulsating DC. And in order to make it into pure form, we make use of filters. Again, there are types of filters in this, like L filter, C filter, LC filter, CLC filter. What is L? What is L? Is it inductor or capacitor? L means
Inductor.
right. C stands for
Capacitor.
capacitor filter, and this is nothing but combinations of L and C. This is CLC, capacitor, inductor, capacitor filter. So in your syllabus, you have only L and C, but once after discussing this, I will give the overview of this LC and CLC also for better understanding. See, this is a transformer. Transformer will have two windings. This is primary winding. This is secondary winding. So anyone, do you have any idea about this transformer? Here you can see more number of turns. See, more number of turns are there. Suppose you can consider this one as N1. Suppose the turns which is present at secondary winding, consider it as N2. You can see there are more number of turns. So for example, I'm considering it as 10 turns, and for N2, less number of turns. So I'm considering it as 5. So by seeing this figure, can anyone identify whether it is step down or step up? Actually, there will be two types. One is
Step
step
down
up.
transformer.
Why step down? Can you explain?
Less number of windings for this secondary winding.
Good. Suppose if it is for step up,
Mm,
step up. More
For
number of
secondary
turns.
winding, it will be more windings.
That's it. This is a simple difference. So
More
step
number
up
of
means
turns.
if secondary winding is having more number of turns, up. If it is having low number of turns, simply you can identify it as down. Step up and step down. Clear? See here. More number of turns, here more amount of voltage, low current. So now you tell me, suppose if you are receiving 230 volt and 50 hertz, if I want to convert it into DC, do I need to use step up or step down? Here,
Step down.
good, simple, because I'm trying to decrease the voltage, right? So here I'm having 230 volt, whereas for our mobiles generally it will be in this range. Suppose 5 volt, 9 volt, and next maximum it will be 12 to 15 volt. So you can see this kind of batteries also in the market if you go. So here 230 volt, I'm converting it into low amount of voltage. So simple, that's why I'm making use of step down. Good. See here. More number of turns for N1, less number of turns for N2. So that's why this is step down transformer. So generally you need to remember these terms. Number of turns is represented something with N, and voltage is better for notation. You need to follow this notation. N1 for more number of turns at primary winding. Next, high voltage. So consider it as V1. V1 is high voltage. Current. Current is something which is represented with I. So 1 indicates primary winding. 2 indicates anyone.
Secondary winding.
Rewinding.
That's it.
Secondary winding.
So this is a notation which you need to remember at least. So step up and step down. Just for the sake of understanding, I've given this one. So in order to differentiate why I'm using step down and step up, I've shown this. So step down is something which we are using in our example right now. And this is the formula for inductor. So actually this winding is simply an inductor. And again, there will be two types of concepts in this, like self-inductance, mutual inductance. All these concepts are not needed for you. You will get those concepts again in ECA. In circuit analysis, you will see all those concepts, like what is meant by self-inductance, what is mutual inductance. There you need to study in detail, but for the subject point of view, just you need to understand like what is step down and step up. So for better understanding, I've given this slide, so you can go through this also. See here, types of transformers. There are two types. One is step up, next is step down. Step up is something which is having more number of turns at secondary winding. Step down means less number of turns at secondary winding. So this is some voltage transformation ratio, right? You better go through these slides, not that much important. For better understanding, in order to differentiate, I've given this. And you can see here, step up and step down. Step up means it is trying to increase the voltage. Output voltage, it is trying to increase. Whereas step down means you're trying to decrease the voltage. Suppose if I'm giving input as 230 for step down, you concentrate only on step down. Why? Because we need to understand this for rectifiers. 230 volt if it is input, and step down I want only 5 volt. So that's why I'm going for step down. Whereas if it is for step up, initially if we give, suppose you better take 230 only, and step up means it will try to increase the amount of voltage. So for better understanding, I'm taking some rough example, 400 volt. So clear with this concept, what is step up and what is step down? Or any doubts?
Yes.
Step down means we are trying to decrease the output voltage. Step up is something for which we are trying to increase the voltage, right? Go through these points once again. If you are having doubts, we shall see in the next slide, right? So classifications of rectifier. This is the actual concept. For better understanding, I've given the working also. So now you know the working of rectifier. So it is something which converts AC to
Pulsating DC.
So P stands for pulsating DC. So classifications of rectifiers. Under rectifier, first one is half wave rectifier, next is full wave. Again, this full wave rectifier is something divided into two types, which is center tapped rectifier and bridge rectifier. So today we shall complete the working of this half wave rectifier, so that in next lecture we shall deal with that full wave also, right? So before going to this, we need to understand some of the parameters of rectifier. So, and easily I can say that you'll get this one for long answer. You can see any previous question paper, definitely this question will be there. Once if you are perfect with all these parameters, it will be very easy for you to understand all these transformer or all these rectifiers as well, like center tapped and bridge. We shall deal with different kinds of parameters, like how many parameters are there. We shall deal first all those parameters. After the understanding of all those parameters, we shall derive it for half wave and full wave. See here. So the first parameter is DC, next is IDC. So first, before going to this, can anyone tell me the difference between what is DC and what is AC? So once if you are clear with this, we can go. What is DC and what is AC?
Direct.
Direct current and alternating current.
Okay, where we are using DC and where we are using AC?
AC is used home, house.
Right. DC?
DC is for batteries.
Right. All the battery power devices are DC. Good. So now, again under this DC, VDC, IDC. Again under AC also two concepts, VAC, IAC. For better understanding, generally in order to represent the DC term only, we use RMS. I'll tell you this what is RMS in next slide. So first we shall deal with this DC. So under DC there are two types again, VDC and IDC. So average value of the DC voltage present in the output. So why we are doing all this? What we need at the output, is it AC or DC for this rectifier? Why we need
DC.
Right. So suppose this is some block diagram. If you consider, this is input, this is output. So input is something which is AC, and by using rectifier, I want output as DC. Okay, pulsating.
Excuse me,
better
sir.
understanding. Okay. Any doubt? Samyukta or Tanvi? Who is this? Any doubt?
Sir, your slide is visible for a time and then it is not visible.
So you'll get it. Better you try to refresh it once again. And again, suppose if you are watching it from mobile, there is an option for you to zoom the screen also. Better try that also. Suppose if it is blur or something like that,
Yes,
you can
sir.
try to zoom in the screen. There is an option in mobile. Okay. So why we are
Yes,
doing
sir.
all this is we want output as DC. So VDC, this is the formula. VDC is something which is 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to 2 pi Vm sine omega t. You need to remember this. Integration of Vm sine omega t. Suppose if it is input Vi is input, Vi is equal to Vm sine omega t. So what is this Vm and what is this omega? Can anyone tell me? What is Vm stands for? I'll
Voltage.
that directly. Okay. What does this M stand for?
Maximum.
Right, maximum voltage. So that Vm I'm treating as amplitude. Clear? So what is amplitude? I've told you already. Suppose this is AC. Tell me where is the amplitude in this? Till here, this top portion from 0 to the top. Vm. So this is the amplitude. And what is frequency? Where is frequency in this term? Sine omega. Omega stands for frequency. What is frequency? This is amplitude. Suppose if I'm saying 10 hertz. What does this mean? Actually, this is frequency. Suppose I'm considering frequency as 10 hertz. Can you tell me what is meant by frequency? What are the units of frequency? One is hertz. It can also be called as cycles per.
Second.
Right, cycles per second. So if it is 10 hertz, there will be 10 cycles within 1 second. So suppose if this is 1 cycle, second, third, like this 10 cycles will be there in 1 second. So I hope you know all these concepts, right? Better I'll try to erase the screen. Okay. So frequency is nothing but cycles per second. So here Vm stands for amplitude and omega stands for frequency. Now, same manner, if it is VDC, again IDC, simply you need to change the terms, that's it. So I is equal to Im sine omega t. If it is voltage, Vm sine omega t. And this integration from 0 to 2 pi. Why 0 to 2 pi? Why not from 0 to pi? This is considered as one cycle. This is 0.
One cycle.
This is pi. This is 2 pi.
From 0 to pi, it is only half cycle.
Yes, from 0 to pi it is half cycle. Again from pi to 2 pi it is 1.5 cycle. So here we consider it as positive half cycle. This as negative half cycle. So put together both positive and negative something, completely we call it as one cycle. Okay. So on x-axis we are trying to represent the frequency, and on y-axis we are trying to represent the amplitude. So amplitude is something which is measured with Vm. Suppose this is the Vm or Im. In case of current we call it as Im. In case of voltage, Vm. So clear with this? Why I'm trying to integrate from 0 to 2 pi? Or any doubt? So IDC is equal to 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to pi Im sine omega t. So VDC and IDC, which is again called as V average or I average. Don't confuse with these terms. VDC or V average both are same. IDC or I average both are same. Now if you go to next slide. What is VRMS? Can anyone tell me about RMS term? Why we are using RMS? Any idea? Yes, it is root mean square. Why I need to consider RMS? Why not AC directly? So what I told you, there are two components, right? Like AC and DC. So under DC, we have seen two terms like VDC and IDC. Now in AC also, why can't I consider directly as VAC and IAC? Why I'm considering as VRMS? Can anyone tell me here? Here I need to consider as VAC directly. Why I'm not considering? Any
The
idea?
value is varying.
Yeah, good. Who is this? May I know your name?
Vamshi.
Good, Vamshi. Because the value is varying, we can't take directly as AC. So that's why we need to take RMS value. It is something which represents the AC component that is present in it. Means it is almost equivalent to DC only. Because if some quantity is varying, we can't consider it directly. See, suppose if it is alternating current AC, it is varying at each and every time instant. See here, this vertical line indicates time. So it is varying with respect to time. So there is nothing here constant. Like suppose if it is DC, we know that definitely it will be constant throughout this time interval, right? Whereas if you see here on this time interval, it is changing. It is changing. See, suppose if it is at one point of time, the amplitude is different. Again, if you are increasing the time period, it is something different. See, suppose for better understanding, you consider it as 0. This is 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, like this something. At each and every instant of time, the amplitude is different. But whereas if you consider here, see here, at all the instants of time, the amplitude is same, right or wrong? Guys, any doubt with this? AC and DC. This is the important thing which you need to understand. Like what is AC, what is DC, and why we need to convert analog to discrete, discrete to digital. I hope someone asked me the doubt of analog and discrete in the first lecture itself. So are you clear with that concept? How to convert
Yes,
analog
sir.
to digital? Right.
Yes, sir.
By using the process of sampling or quantization.
Sampling.
So if we do sampling, we get what we get? Either discrete or digital. Two steps will be there. First is sampling. First is sampling. Next is quantization.
Sampling is discrete to analog. Discrete is no, quantization is discrete to digital.
Good. So if it is from analog to discrete, sampling. If it is from discrete to digital, it is quantization. And sampling is done vertically or horizontally?
Vertically.
Good. Quantization?
Horizontally.
That's it. So first you need to be familiar with these terms. So this is something we call as quantization. Okay. So once if you are clear with these basics, you will understand this easily. So Vamshi, good. I got good response from you. VRMS is something which is root mean square, as AC is alternating in nature. So RMS is something which is almost equivalent to DC, which I am considering it from AC itself. So RMS value is nothing but it is the AC voltage present in the output. So VRMS is equal to 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to 2 pi. Here I am trying to square it. That's the only difference. Whereas if you see in DC, see here directly I am getting Vm sin omega t. Whereas for alternating, it will be Vm square sin square omega t. Or else you can consider like this also. VDC is something which is equivalent to 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to 2 pi directly V into d omega t. You can consider like this. Simply V. Or else VI, V input. Afterwards also you can substitute VI is something which is Vm sin omega t. If it is for AC, simply you need to square it because it is root mean square. You can see where is the root? This is the root. Okay. Root is there. And tell me where is mean? Mean is something which will be like this, right? A plus B by 2. Average simply called as, right? So here this 2 pi is something which we call as mean. Average simply. And here you can see the square term. Vm square sin square omega t is something in nothing but square. So root mean square. Clear? Or any doubt with this concept? Because most of you will get confused with this RMS term only. So if you are having doubt, better try to ask me once again so that I'll explain. Clear with RMS value? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. So again, RMS of current will also be same thing again. Simply you need to change the term. IRMS is equal to root mean square. Here instead of VM square, I'll get IM square. That's the only difference. So you, if you remember only one thing, other thing also you can easily remember. VDC and IDC both are equivalent. Just you need to change the term, and RMS, VRMS and IRMS will be same. So note. So why IRMS is nothing but because AC is alternating in nature. That's why I want to consider as an equivalent with the DC. I am considering it as VRMS and IRMS. Simply I am considering the AC component which is present. Okay. So we are done with 4 parameters. Next, ripple factor. First, before going to this, can anyone tell me the meaning of ripple? What is ripple? See, generally what you know, this is DC, right? It will be something constant. Suppose on this DC, if there are small fluctuations like this, we call it as this is nothing but the ripple. So that's why it is. Is it pure or is it in pulsating nature?
Pulsating.
That's it. It is pulsating
Pulsating.
DC. Why? Because there are small number of ripples. A ripple is something which is noise simply. For better understanding, you can consider it as some noise. And in order to remove this noise or ripples, we need to add filter for this. So under filters, how many types? How many types of filters are there? Anyone? L, C, LC and CLC. we shall discuss this in next session. First, before going to this, we need to understand what is meant by a rectifier. So this is something which is pulsating in nature. In order to make it as pure, we need to add filter. So first thing what we need to do is we need to find the ripples that are present in the output. You can see it here. The output current contains both AC and DC components. The ripple factor measures the percentage of AC components in the rectified output. Suppose if this is the rectified output that I got after passing it through the rectifier. Okay, so better I'll use here rectifier and I'll give some random input, and I got this as the output. Suppose this is a rectified. Okay, if this rectified output contains both AC and DC components, in this tell me where is AC and where is DC in this rectified output?
Pulsative.
Right, this noise terms are something which is AC in nature, whereas the line you can see it here, this is something which is DC. So this rectified output is containing both AC components as well as DC components. Now what I need to do, should I remove DC or AC from it?
AC.
That's it. So in order to remove AC, I need to use concept called as filter. So under filter, there are 4 types of filters. So after passing through the filter, I'll get pure form of DC or AC?
DC.
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 So don't get confused, because majority, if you, they will get confused in answering this rectifier. It is something which converts AC into pulsating DC. You need to mention this term compulsorily. Suppose if there are lab sessions in Viva, you can expect this kind of questions. So AC to pulsating DC. Next, ideally DC current or voltage is unidirectional and has no fluctuations with respect to the time. As I've shown you, it is constant with respect to time because there are no fluctuations. Next, it has an average or DC value over which a number of unwanted AC components are superimposed, called as ripples. You can see here from this. This contains some unwanted ripples, which is nothing but this noise, which we need to remove this noise. Next, in many applications, this type of pulsating in the output DC is not desirable because we don't want this ripple components to be present in the output. So how do we remove? By using a simple concept called as filter. Clear? Or any doubt? So Mohammed, can you explain me what is meant by ripple factor and why we are doing? Yes, Mohammed. If you are having doubt, let me know. Once again, I'll repeat. Samyukta.
No doubt, sir.
Can you repeat? What is ripple? What you understand, just tell in your terms. What is ripple factor and what is meant by ripple? So ripple is something which contains the unwanted noise. It is simply the unwanted noise that is present in the rectified output. So we want the output in pure DC format. But what I'm getting is over this DC, I'm getting some unwanted ripples. Simply, we can call it as noise. So what my intention is, I want to remove this ripples. In order to remove that ripples, what is the concept? Filter. Filter is the concept that we use. Under filter, we make use of L filter, C filter, or else LC and CLC. So ripple factor is something which is represented with gamma. So this is the definition. So it is nothing but RMS value of AC component of wave by average or DC value. So this is something which is almost VDC or IDC. You can consider any value, no issue with this, IDC or VDC. Whereas RMS value of AC component is something which is VRMS and IRMS. So once if you are familiar with that first 4 points, rest is simple for you to understand. So better try to concentrate on these 4 points once again, like what is VDC or V average, IDC or I average, and next VRMS and IRMS. So RMS, you need to remember this RMS concept. Why we are not going directly to VAC or VAC or directly IAC, and instead of that, why I'm coming to VRMS and IRMS. Okay. So AC, as it is alternating in nature, we can't find the constant value of it. So that's why I'm going for RMS value, which is nothing but a root mean square. So there are three definitions for it. So you can also consider it as form factor square minus 1. We shall discuss form factor in the next slides, or else you can directly substitute the values. It is simply VRMS by VDC whole square minus 1. Actually, this is the formula for form factor. So till now, you remember only this point, that is enough. So ripple factor is something which is RMS value of AC component of wave by average or DC value. So I hope you are familiar with the ripple term. Can anyone repeat? What is a ripple? Yes, guys, today what happened to you? No one is responding. Anyone, what is meant by ripple? Anyone?
Ripple is one which makes noise.
Simply it is noise. Where it is present? At
In
input
an-
side or at output side?
Output side.
Right. So in order to remove that ripples, what is the concept?
We should use
Filter.
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 That's it. How many types of filters are there?
4 types of
Four.
Four
types.
types.
What are they?
L,
V,
C,
L,
L,
LC,
LC,
CLC.
LCL, CLC.
That's it. Only 4. L, C, LC and CLC. So that's it. But today I got less response from your end compared to all the other classes. So is it clear or not? Again, should I repeat once again? Clear till it's 5 points, right? Like what is DC and what is AC. So better if you are having doubt, again, once again, you try to revise these concepts, because I think Samyukta understood, I guess. DC and AC. Once again, you try to go through this concept, like what is sampling, just a basic term. In depth, you don't try to go it. Just you need to understand what is sampling and what is quantization, and how I'm trying to convert analog to discrete and from discrete to digital. So first you try to go through this topic at least, so that it will be very easy to understand, because all these derivations depends upon AC and DC components itself. So that's why before going to that, you need to understand these terms. Okay. Any doubt?